in my system one.
Welcome to another demonstrative review. This is Omensight. I'm going to play through some of the game while I give my thoughts on it, since I have already beaten it. Let's go ahead. We can look at the options real quick. There are a good number of options in this game. There is rumble support you can turn on and off. The graphics lets you choose your resolution, windowed or full screen. And you can choose like some various graphical presets. You know, you can go as high as epic. I put it on medium. You can turn VSync on or off, anti-aliasing stuff. You got there. And then audio is pretty basic. You got not too basic actually. It's good that it has like options for all the different audio sources, I guess. So that's good. You can control those if you find any of them out of balance. I didn't really have to mess with it at all. Controls, you can look at. You got the controller controls. You can also play with keyboard if you really want to. The game also suggests up front that you should use a controller, but you can use keyboard if you want. And then language, you have different languages to choose from. So yeah, there's that. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get started with the game. I'm going to go ahead and load my file here that's at the end of the game. So the premise of this game is that the world is coming to the end at the end of this particular day. And you play as this character called the Harbinger, and you are somehow created for the purpose of stopping the end of the world. And so what you have the power to do is go back to the beginning of this one day to try to put a stop to it. These two things here, I'll address these things in this hub here after we play through a level. So let's go ahead and when I actually started playing, I originally started with this guy. So let's go ahead and do this. This menu right here does not show up until you have beaten the game. But let's go ahead and just do one so that there's no spoilers. So yeah, it's telling me right now there's nothing new to find in this level, but I'm just going to play through it anyway. And it does ask you to hold buttons down. Well, at least the confirm button down. As you can see, I'll explain that after we beat the level. So let's go ahead and play through this intro level here. So yeah, you have the option there. What I just did was I chose a character I'm going to follow. Like, I'm going to this character's location.
Listen to me.
Fjolbar?
They will cut you down before you reach the gates.
Oh no, Fjolbar's the bartender. Ludomir's the bear.
Everything will be
So
at least bring a squad along.
I think Ludumir is like the only guy in this game that swears. So that's a thing. And I can interrupt their talking right now if I just want to grab this cup.
That seat's taken, mate.
Ludumir, it's the Harbinger.
So yeah, let's go ahead and skip this. Oh yeah, skipping is a little painful in this, in that you can't just skip a whole scene. If you press start, it'll just pause, which is, I guess, good. But if you want to skip stuff, you basically have to mash the button to skip over things. You can't just skip entire conversations. You can only skip single lines of dialogue. And you can't skip scenes. So that's a little bit of a nitpick, so you can't skip over things. So what the gameplay loop in here, I guess you could say, is that there are these several main characters that you want to follow to find out. So there's this, the end of the world is being caused by this monster. I already forgot his name, but basically the world lore is that there is this person called the Godless Priestess, and she's called that because they are living in a world without the gods. I guess it's hard to fight and talk at the same time. It's called the Godless. She's called the Godless Priestess because she's a priestess in a world where they don't have a god active. Like the god is either away or asleep or something like that. I don't remember which specifically. But yeah, I guess now would be a good time to go over basic controls. As you see the slowdown happening, that's because I'm dodging at the right time. If I dodge too early or too late, nothing will happen. But if I dodge at the right time, it'll have that little slowdown effect. And then you have a basic normal attack that you can do over and over again. And then you also have a heavy attack, which is slower, of course, but it's stronger. And then, of course, you have a jump and you have double jump. Oh yeah, and then the characters you go around with will commonly give you like a boost to get up to high places. This is a scripted thing that happens. You just have to jump right there with them, and they'll give you a boost up. Otherwise, you can jump and grab ledges on your own to climb things.
Why are we stuck here, sir?
But of course, they set those characters up to give you a boost where you have to get their help to reach a higher location. What you will notice as you go through the game is that
Most Imperials believe their leader
there's
is
only like a set
right now.
number of locations,
Invasion and all.
and
Indrik
what you
went
do
to
is
all
you
effort
go
to fool his
through
subjects to keep his secret.
levels
But I know
where, say,
he's
I could have
plotting
started this
him.
level
Must be
with a
huge.
different character
Anyway,
if they wanted to go here in the story,
One thing only.
and the result is that we may start off in that same place and then we'll like take a different path to a different part of the level. So there's only like 4 or 5 locations, and then there's also the 4 main characters that you follow around, and then they'll be in different places depending on the time of day and depending on what they know. So the reason, what you gain in advancing the story is you gain Omensights, and these are things you can show to the other characters to let them know, hey, this is a thing that happened in the past and is, contributing to the end of the world, and they all have a connection to the Godless Priestess in some way. And so they are all interested in stopping the end of the world and can have some effect on stopping the end of the world. And that is why they are the characters that you follow around in the game.
If it'd been up to my mum, I'd be river fishing day in and day out.
And so there is a sort of repetitive nature to the game where you are technically refighting the same levels, but you go with different characters, so the levels change a little bit depending on, who you happen to be with or what part of the story you're in. So it's not exactly repetitive, like you're not going through the exact same level sequences with the same characters. Who you're with doesn't really change the gameplay too much, but it does designate like what level per se you're going to go through,
Anyone on site?
because
Sir, wait for my order.
whoops,
Let them weaken each other.
because depending on who you're with and when you're with them, you'll go through a level differently. Like I mentioned, how the levels have different sections to them, which you won't go to unless the other person guides you there. Oh yeah. So I should also explain you can manually slow down time with an ability, but that's like R1 right there, which you can then do that. And then there's also like L1, which you just throw. And then all of these abilities are activated by how much power you have. There's a cooldown on all of them, which is in the upper left there below the blue bar. The blue bar itself is my power meter, which allows me, I have to use power to use special moves, and then of course they also have the cooldown on top of that. Oh yeah, and there's like a charge, attacks. That was my heavy. This is my light charge attack, which will throw out these beams. And of course, the amount of energy you have in the game changes based on leveling up and such. Man, this guy's got a shield. Usually heavy attacks go through shields. Sometimes I don't exactly... I guess I don't completely understand when they do and when they don't. You also have... you can break pots to get like these fruits, which will restore your health, and then the shards, which are used to purchase upgrades. I have all the upgrades, so my 41,000 total shards there on the right. That's just the excess I've collected since I upgrade everything. And then of course my health bar is maxed out too, so you don't start with that much health at the start. I will note that I did play the entire game on the hardest difficulty, which you can check gameplay options. There we go. Yeah, so I played on hard, which meant that I did die occasionally. I'm sure balanced is fine enough, and then easy would be if you don't really want to have the challenge, you just want to do the story. And then there's this narrative difficulty. I played on True Detective. I guess it does have a guided mode, so it'll tell you like, hey, you should go to this person next in order to advance the story as quick as possible, but I did True Detective, which means I just got to pick, and so I'm sure you can pick either way, but I didn't get any clue as to who I should go to next to advance the story, because you need to go to the right person at the right time in order to advance the story to the point where you get an Omensight, so you get new information about the past and why the world is coming to an end, and can then use that information to basically every time you get an Omensight, that advances you to the next stage of the game, so all the characters with that new Omensight would potentially go to new levels. And then these are locks, which they're color-coded for different characters. They, at different points in the game, will you'll observe them unlock one of these, and then you will then gain that ability. So you don't gain the ability to unlock something until you see the other person use that. So these will be like little offshoots. Usually they'll be like a dead end, or maybe they will just be like a shortcut through the level, or maybe even a long way around the level, which includes extra treasure. So that's just another thing. The combat is mostly watching out for enemy attacks, and then you gotta dodge them at the right time. That was not at the right time. You gotta watch out for enemy exclamation marks, because that's when they're going to attack you, so you can dodge at the right time, and then you just do a combination of heavy and light attacks, mixing in your special abilities. And then your energy bar will just start dropping once you stop doing things. So that's that blue meter with the dots that just starts dropping things. Oh, so right here there was a optional thing found. This was a treasure I found here on this pedestal. They have like books. Here we go. I didn't even find all these. There's no achievement for finding all of them, so I guess I didn't really care to find them all. But these are like little story bits, background information on the characters, which you can find in these little books on pedestals and places. So yeah, I'm missing a couple of them. But yeah, these are little. They'll give you background information on the characters. That's what it is. So those are interesting. But yeah, I don't know if I'll take the time to go out and... I mean, I guess I kind of want to go out and find them all, but there's no achievement for it. And I mean, achievements shouldn't be the only motivator to do something in a game, but it would help. I guess I didn't care about the game enough to go after them, but I mean, that's not saying you or someone else wouldn't. They could be more interesting to other people.
That's why you're here.
So like I said, Ludimir is the only guy I think in the game ever swears. So if that's a concern of yours, that's all you need to know. And then there is an assist button. There we go. R2 or R trigger. Those are that'll get your support character. So it does matter that you have a support character. There will be times when you don't have a support character at all. That's rare, but it happens, and that would mean that you can't use that support ability. Is he still here? No, he's gone.
Noticed all those locked doors we passed? Fancy.
He's explaining those seals right there.
And this one? This door is special. It's where all the emperors are buried. Think of all the secrets they took with them.
And
Still,
I could go,
there's no getting through.
yeah, so he's telling me right there, Indrik is the guy that I learned the orange seal from. I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I could go there and unlock it if I wanted to. Oops. Yeah, and my L2 or left trigger button. Oh, Pygarian seal. Yeah, my R2 left trigger is a speed boost kind of thing. It does gain like an attack bit on it when you upgrade it, and it has that cooldown you can watch, so you know exactly we can use it again. Let's go ahead and go through the normal path here, just so there's no spoilers or anything. And then each level is kind of lengthy, as you can tell from watching this. Some levels might even be a little bit longer than this.
Protect the Emperor!
Yeah, and then of course the game does give you little bonuses for using your abilities and environment as part of the combat sequence. Oops. So that 5,000 right there, those are like experience points I'm getting from defeating the enemies in stylish ways. If you used your abilities better, then you get more experience points, and the experience points you don't cash in until you go back to that tree, the hub area. So I'm just gonna go ahead.
Making it this far, I will enjoy turning you to ash. Kill them all. Let Yarbuck.
Let's just go ahead and end this right here. I think you get the idea. Well, yeah, I just died. So yeah, let's go ahead and return to the tree. I guess you can see that there are checkpoints throughout the level. So yeah, I'm starting like right there where I died at those guys. But yeah, I just think it's gonna take a little bit too long. Be like another 10 minutes to like finish the level. But yeah, you can reload the checkpoint, return to tree. Let's go ahead and return to the tree. And it looked like that message said you won't retain the knowledge you've gathered, which means, well, when going into the level, we saw that there wasn't anything new to gain. But if I had gained anything new, I wouldn't retain it if I just skipped out of the level like that. So like I said, I could go back here. It looks like there's a question mark there. So, and then that dot at the front would have a check mark like that if I get everything. I don't know what all the symbols mean as to what the information is, but I'm sure there's some kind of key to it. But 15 out of 15 at the top there, those are part of the clues I need to find the true ending. So as you can see, I didn't get everything in this level in particular, but I got everything for the true ending, the 15 out of 15. And what those are tied to is this. This you don't see until after you beat the game, which lets you sort of see a map of all the information that you need to learn the true ending of the game. So when you beat the game normally, it's probably possible to find all this information before you beat the game the first time, maybe? But you'd probably still get the bad ending anyway, because then they show you, hey, there's this portal, and then this orb right here, and then they give you this final one here in the middle, this final character in the middle to follow. You get these 4 characters throughout the main game, and then after you beat the game, you get the final. Well, you don't get the final character until you find all of these clues here. So each of these little dots around the character is a clue. So these are like the different clues you get, and then you kind of have to find out where they are on your own, and then I'm sure Guided would have some play in this and telling you exactly where to go, maybe, to find all the information. And then this lady here, she's the one that narrates stuff and tells you what's going on as you go through the game. So here, these are where you cash in your experience points. And I've already reached max level, so they're not going to give me experience. They're not going to show that the yellow bars, the yellow lines, they kind of like highlight up to the top of the statue as you fill it. And then, of course, I've reached the top level. So you gain these abilities as you level up. So some of the abilities you don't get until you level up, like being able to throw characters and stuff. And instant kill with a charge. And then over here, the amber that you get, those blue crystals, these are upgrades that you get to your person. So like upgrade my health, upgraded my energy max level, and then upgrade like some of my abilities to a certain point. So yeah, you can upgrade your character's assist move, which, I mean, as little as you can get to use those. I guess I could use them more often than I did. But yeah, those are different upgrades you can do. These are straight level ups that you get things at a certain level a certain level as you progress through the game. And then these are upgrades which you can pick and choose, like which ones to upgrade first. And then yeah, I guess that is pretty much the end of the game. I do like all the characters. They're all interesting that they all have their different perspective on what's going on. You've got this guy who was close to the priestess, Radika, who's part of a rebellion, and Draga, who's part of the military, and then you got Indrik, who is the emperor of the land. So Draga works under him, but they have conflicting interests at some point because of the way the story unfolds. For instance, let's go ahead and just demonstrate. Oh, what I just did there, I completely skipped over it. What's nice is that the levels are kind of lengthy. You can skip to critical moments, so it'll show you like, hey, you've done this so far in the level, and then you get to this point, which is where you make a decision. The top of the screen there shows the day broken up into like parts. So like there's the morning, midday, evening, and then the end of the world happens at the end of the day. And this little screen will show you like, hey, where characters are at the time of the day. That doesn't really make any effect on my decision making when I played, but it's good to show you, hey, look, the narrative is going in this direction. And this is a decision-making point that I've fast-forwarded to. So it's nice when you're like at the end of the game, you're trying to like make it find things, or maybe you don't like the decision you made at one point, so you decide, hey, let's do that again and try something else. So yeah, let's go ahead and skip this dialogue here, and I'll show you when you get to certain points in the game, you get the option to like fight. So right now it's sort of set up where you can fight or show your Omensight. So you can just jump and attack, or use your Omensight, which is you go in and it shows this flashback here. Luckily this is like the first Omensight you got, I think.
Why did you show him that?
And then there's things that play out differently based on whether you attack them or show them your Omensight. And so there are a lot of branching paths you can take, because there's choosing which character to go with at the start of the day, and then there's choosing whether or not to attack or to use an Omensight. And yes, attacking sometimes is the better thing to do. You may think, Omensight obviously is the better thing to do. Let them know more stuff. But no, sometimes you need to attack in order to get information from different people. So yeah, there are decisions to make, and then like that fast forward feature was when I chose to skip ahead. That let me jump right to this moment so that I could, maybe I attacked last time. Well, now I'm going to use the Omensight to see if things play out differently in a way that is favorable to me, because my goal through each level is to get more information. Basically, my ultimate goal is to get the next Omensight, and that's going to take me working with characters, trying to figure out who has new information I could get from them. And then based on the previous Omensight I got, that might be a clue as to who I want to give that information to. As you can see, most of the gameplay is kind of this platforming, hack and slash kind of combat focus thing. But then there is like the whole story integration, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I definitely think this game is worth playing through. I thought it was pretty fun to do.
Don't mention it.
The final boss, not the true final boss, but the basic final boss was pretty hard. I had a problem where the game doesn't really revive you. When you go back to a last checkpoint, it doesn't automatically give you full health. It'll just put you back at what health you were when you died. Or when you got to the checkpoint, rather. Not just when you died, but when you got to that checkpoint, however much health you had, that's how much you'll have. So it made the final boss a little more difficult because I didn't have full health when I got to the end there, so that was kind of lame. Going back to a checkpoint should just put you at full health. But yeah, these locks sometimes just put you at a dead end. Like there was one of those character background story things right here, and then there's just a chest. But that, I think, should be my stopping point for this review. Let me know if you have any other questions about the game. I'll answer in the comments below. And then, if you haven't played this game yet, let me know what you think of the game based on this review. And if you have played the game before, let me know if there's anything I missed that people should be aware of to help them make a decision on, if they want to play it or not. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
We couldn't save them. Come on, let's hurry.